Welcome to Michael J. Bragman Stadium for an SCAC Metro matchup here in the first round of the Section 3 Class A Sectional Championships. We have an odd game tonight with 6:57 on the board, a 10-0 score in favor of the North Stars. And in case you missed it last night, despite the sunny weather tonight, the weather last night really putting that game to a screeching halt. And so here we are with plenty of minutes left, and in the middle of a game with the Thunder roaring last night, we have plenty of lacrosse left to play. So in case you missed it, as I mentioned, a 10-0 start for the North Stars. Riley, what did we miss? What numbers did the North Stars put up? Who was scoring, and what a performance did they put on?
I mean, Kyle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people had at least 1 point for CNS, and for Rome, they're obviously down 10-0, so Rome didn't have anybody. Mazzoli put up 2 goals. Semino had 4 assists. Cicerelli kind of led the way with 3 goals, 2 assists. Blakeman had 2 goals sitting on the right side of the pipe. Tanner Long, the freshman, and the Fogo, replacing Aiden Long, 2 goals. Joe Green had 1 assist from the 40-yard line, which was incredible, and Nolan Firth had his 1 goal on the night.
And so the crowd fills in here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. As I mentioned, an odd evening. In case you're just tuning in, no, we haven't been playing a ton of lacrosse today. As a matter of fact, none just yet. Nonetheless, a 10-0 score to start it for the North Stars. As we mentioned last night, the game brought to a screeching halt from Mother Nature. The Thunder rolling loud. First I thought it was the bleachers. I couldn't really, differentiate. The bleachers certainly do get loud with the fans packing in the stadium, a new 500 fan limit. Riley, I'm sure you confuse the bleachers for Thunder sometimes as well.
Definitely. I did. And, I look down to the bleachers now, and I don't know if there's 500 fans tonight. Yesterday, the fans were packed. Students were here, and that, it's always good to see students here. Absolutely.
And so I believe RFA will start with possession. I'm not sure if that was a circumstance last night, but really the fact of the matter is RFA can take any possession they can get. At least they will. So again, a 10-0 start with 6:57 to go here in the second quarter. And finally, we're underway here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium as the sun hits its peak. Mother Nature said otherwise last night, and finally we're back to some more lacrosse.
This is just one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I've never seen a game just pick up in the middle of the second quarter in my life.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that myself. Absolutely, Riley. I guarantee in your lacrosse career you haven't been with that situation before. As Elijah Martin will start it off for the North Stars, finally getting possession. That only took a couple seconds, and Anthony Semino will stride near the crease. So, yeah, I mean, how many times do you see it as the sun get in the way right there, and RFA will pick up possession in the backfield. A little sloppy start for the North Stars. And for RFA as well, as the ball's knocked loose at the 40. As I mentioned, Riley, I'm sure you've never had that experience before, picking up a game in the middle of the second quarter.
I've definitely never had that situation. I've had the situation once where the game's kind of been postponed for 30 minutes to an hour. That was in my junior year playing over at Fayetteville, but I've never, and there's the sun, gets right to Blakeman.
The sun again. Yep, yeah, Blakeman, and then I believe that was Cicerelli beforehand. So that's 2 Masons down by the sun. The Sun 2-0 tonight.
Yeah, Sun's 2-0, and Rome does not have a goal yet.
No, I mean, I think that shutout might preserve Giovanni Heater in goal tonight. So you see him, I believe that's that red ride.
Yep,
so
the red ride.
Field. Riley, you were discussing that last night, kind of the setups on rides is a pass upfield for RFA. Can they turn it around? No. Josh Kubala says otherwise. A big play right there. Again, on the red ride, Giovanni Heater stepping out of goal, and Nolan Firth stepping into the midfield to kind of play a free safety type of position. That's number 12, Josh Kubala, getting a big play on defense for the North Stars.
And that red ride up.
And a big shot. Mason Blakeman will start it off as the ride for RFA not as successful, and they roll upfield. The North Stars post their first goal tonight as the 10 other yesterday finally get a response. It's an 11-0 score with 5:22 to go here in the second quarter. The North Stars are looking real comfortable here in the first round, Riley.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're up 11-0, but that red ride, if anybody doesn't know what that is, that's a 10-man ride where Nolan Firth plays that free safety position and pushes up towards the 50-yard line. You see Giovanni Heater also covering attackman. Rome almost beat that, but Kubala intercepted that pass. That's the only weakness of a 10-man ride that's really aggressive. CNS also has another ride that's white, and that's kind of just a man-to-man ride. But the only weakness in that 10-man ride is if you can get over top of the goalie.
Absolutely, and so RFA trying to get a response. Still no goals just yet, and this could be the first shutout for the North Stars all season. A fight for it in the midfield. North Stars will pick it up and roll around the right side. This number 16, Tanner Long, as we get a slash at midfield. The fans trying to cheer to get the attention of the refs, as we do so often here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. A shot in the inside, deflected away. And the RFA Black Knights will get away with one as it appears the ball rolls out of bounds. No, excuse me, a penalty on the play.
Yep, a slashing call. You cannot hit a player in the head. But that was such a crafty pass by Mason Cicerelli. I mean, he was not even turned toward Mason Blakeman, kind of shovels past behind his back. Blakeman couldn't finish the goal, but, I mean, that's been Cicerelli all year. I mean, just a crafty player, finishing and passing the ball.
And speaking of craftiness, who could forget Anthony Cimino coming into this matchup? He's put up some great numbers. Number 17 for the North Stars, 13 goals, but 37 assists to match to it. So certainly a guy who has quite the crafty stick on his side as well. And speak of the Devils, Cimino looking to line up from distance almost there as he passes back to Blakeman. And then he does, pass to the inside, fake, and they put it away. Mason Cicerelli with the second goal for the North Stars tonight. And it's a 12-0 lead with 4:47 to go until halftime.
Kyle, I just want to break down that man-up play, and I was going to break it down even when they still had it. Cimino plays up top, and Cimino's one of the best feeders in Section 3 lacrosse and in this league, and not even, maybe even New York State as a whole. And you look for those guys on the right and left pipe. Sometimes it's Cicerelli. He's down at the lower pipe. Mason Blakeman's a little bit higher. Mazzoli sits down at that left pipe, and Cimino will find you as he found Cicerelli on that last play.
As it appears, Seth Hammond trying to get the face-off win, or that's number 20, Trevor Ford, excuse me, trying to get the win. I mix those names up a lot. That is Seth Hammond. And still a fight for it at midfield, and who else but Josh Kubala to roll out with it. Kubala, definitely one of the more sizable athletes on this roster. Is speaking of size, Giovanni Heater will roll that one wide, but then Nolan Firth picks it off in the midfield, trying to get that initial clear from Giovanni Heater. He'll get away with it nonetheless, rolling around that right side. Firth in this position before is so good at getting that ball upfield.
Yeah, so good at getting the ball upfield, but you see Firth. I mean, I'll talk to him after the game. 40-yard line up.
And another shot for Blakeman on the inside, as you were saying, Riley.
Yeah, no, I'll talk to Firth after the game, but he was on the 40-yard line. He saw Cicerelli wide open, but that's a tough pass to make over two people. I believe Firth could have done it, but, I mean, Blakeman finishes that goal. That's Blakeman's fourth goal. Cicerelli's got 4 goals, and Cimino has 5 assists.
And Riley, you alluded to the craftiness of some of the sticks on this North Stars roster before this. Mason Cicerelli, Anthony Cimino, just to name a few. And kind of a lack of craftiness, or really just a lack of being able to piece together some, some passes, or really string together any passes for the RFA Black Knights. A winning team in the Tri-Valley League. They come all the way over to Cicero North Syracuse High School and really can't string together anything that they want. What do you think it is about this team? Do they not practice drills enough? Is it just a lack of stick skills in general? As Mike Kohler tries to get a shot upfield, passes to Cicerelli in the backfield.
And Kyle, I don't even think it's a lack of that. I mean, we saw yesterday when they played, I mean, they couldn't pass and catch, and those are the basics of lacrosse. And I know this team can pass and catch. They're 7-6 overall, 4-2 in the Tri-Valley League. I mean, don't play some of the, I can't even say best opponents because that's the league that they're in. CNS just has a harder league that they play in, and one of the best in Section 3 in New York State as a whole. But Rome, the thing that they lack is, I mean, if you're going to pass the ball to somebody, cut open. V-cut, go into the defender, come out of the defender, and just get open. And I think also when you break it down.
And Tanner Long gets a shot on the inside. Riley, it's the third time you've been interrupted now. These boys are just flying up and down the field.
No, I love it. I mean, Tanner Long's third goal of this game. Yesterday he had 2. Today he has 1. I mean, he only has 3 goals on the season as CNS takes a 14-0 lead. But, no, I love getting interrupted when CNS certainly, is scoring. I mean, it's good lacrosse. But, no, what I was going back to is Rome just does not play the teams that CNS has played, and that's one of the keys to the game for Rome. I mean, you haven't played a team like CNS all year. Don't get down early and keep playing lacrosse if you get down. But now being down 14-0, I think that's truly almost impossible to come back when you play a team like this.
Comebacks galore. We saw a great one last night. The Lady North Stars, just before that boys game, clawing their way back from a 1-goal deficit, really, so not that much of a deficit, but the Liverpool Warriors grabbed the lead for the first time late in that game. And then in overtime, with a 12-11 win, Molly Molchnoff really put the knife in the throats of the Warriors. So, I would love to see a comeback from the RFA Black Knights tonight to make this game interesting, but really just not possible with the lack of stick skills in this team. Meanwhile, a pass to the inside, Elijah Martin getting stuffed by Trevor Ford, finally getting a good save in his crease.
If Martin puts that in his left hand, coming down, he scores that goal. Martin's a right-handed player, and it was a beautiful feed by, I think, Cicerelli. Martin puts that in his left hand. I think he scores the goal.
And Speaking of Elijah Martin, a pass upfield. He had his back turned, so he couldn't intercept that high pass. And RFA still getting stripped in the midfield anyways. Elijah Martin, and I think a lot of the guys really in the North Stars feeling very relaxed in the field tonight. They started with a couple mistakes in the backfield with the sun in their eyes, and now the shadows finally coming out. Maybe it won't be as much of a problem. Meanwhile, number 22, Ian Leahy, rolling upfield for the North Stars.
And for Leahy to be successful tonight, try to draw a short stick. And if you don't have a short stick, maybe even invert with Semino behind, as we see. I've heard Coach Gatto is saying with an invert with Martin and Semino that we haven't really seen, but, try to draw a short stick behind and see if you can attack that.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the ball pops out, and RFA on a save will finally have some more possession time, rolling up field. And again, that lack of stick skills. Number 29, Noah Hammond fighting for it in the midfield now, and Nolan Firth really slashing at him. And there's a slash in the way out from Noah Hammond. Nolan Firth won't feel that. A USA All-American. That one announced only a few days ago, so quite the stud on the field tonight for the North Stars.
Well, one of the best defenders in Section 3 in New York State, and like I alluded to last night, he's going to go play alongside Alex Rosa, the West Jenny commit that's also going to Hobart.
Absolutely. Now Blakeman passing off to his left side. It's Anthony Semino. Back out to Mazzoli. I'm surprised, a 14-0 lead and only a minute until halftime. We haven't seen a ton of the younger faces stepping onto the field yet. I already see a ton of numbers on the sideline just looking at it that I wouldn't necessarily recognize just yet. So I'm definitely going to have to test my roster skills, later on in this matchup.
When I played my senior year lacrosse, we had gray jerseys and black numbers.
And meanwhile, Semino gets a shot on the inside. A good string of passes, and the North Stars will have a 15-0 lead with 42 seconds to go. Riley, as you were saying.
My senior year lacrosse, we had gray jerseys and dark gray numbers, and it was honestly impossible. We didn't broadcast games, obviously, since we were playing, and obviously we didn't have the North Star Network back then, 2 years ago, but it would have been impossible to call that. But at least CNS has white jerseys and blue numbers, so, if the bench comes in, at least we'll be able to call.
Oh, I've been very grateful for this. Earlier on in the season, you guys were not afraid to let me know. I was struggling to pick up those numbers. I almost relied on you guys to get them. I got my glasses in, and now with these jerseys as well. Look at RFA. Very grateful for their jerseys as well, as it's red numbers on black uniforms. So definitely happy with that, as RFA finally getting into the attacking third. That's number 1, Jared Hussey, rolling upfield to the left of Giovanni Heater's crease.
And Jared Hussey, a senior attackman, 52 points on the year, 28 goals, 24 assists, a very balanced player, and one of the best players on this Roam Free Academy squad.
And speaking of balance, I think there's not really a guy necessarily like that for RFA. As they get loose a ball in the backfield, it rolls out of bounds, and Josh Cabell will pick it up for the North Stars. There's not really a guy like that for the North Stars necessarily. You have Anthony Semino, who gets plenty of assists as the clock buzzes here at halftime. But only a little bit of goals, and then Cicerelli, plenty of goals, not necessarily a ton of assists. So do you think they could use a guy who's more balanced like that, or do you think the system the North Stars have rolling right now is just fine?
I think the system that the North Stars have is just fine, and you look at their record coming into this game, 4-9, 4-8 in their conference. They had the 3 seed overall in the Section 3 Class A sectional championship. So I think what CNS is doing is good, and they just beat West Jenny. Kyle, I did want to add this in. When they beat West Jenny last week, it was actually the first time in 65 years that CNS had beaten West Jenny.
Yeah, you and I were discussing that in the game. 15 years is how far back the rule book went, or not the rule book, the record book, rolled back, at least that initial look, and then we dive deeper, at least you dive deeper, and hearing that, just so surprising. The history between these two teams competing every year for 65 years. The first time the North Stars leave victorious. So that was certainly quite the call to be on, as well as Anthony Semino put away that goal in overtime. That's my 3rd overtime call this season. So being a North Star certainly feels fantastic, all in the favor of the North Stars as well. So they're 3-3 in overtime as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and the last game that CNS actually took on Rome was April 28th, 2015, where CNS won 19-6. So, it's been 6 years since CNS has last played Rome. So, it's interesting, and it seems like CNS is obviously going to roll to another victory, up 15-0. But I think it's now time for the bench to come in if you're CNS.
Oh, I'd be glad to see that, but we do see Giovanni Heater warming up in goal. So don't leave just yet. Some new faces will be stepping out in the field, and as Riley mentioned, perhaps some more history for the North Stars, looking to move on to the second round. We'll be back in just a second here on the North Star Network. Welcome back here on the North Star Network. Part 2 of the RFA North Stars matchup tonight in the first round of the Section 3 Class A Sectional Championships Tournament. Boys lacrosse team looking to succeed and move on. And, well, it already looks like that they have it in their back pocket. As I mentioned, part 2 of this game is the first half of it essentially was postponed yesterday, and they already have 5 goals under their belt in only 7 minutes of action. As we see Tanner Long stepping out of the field to get the opening face-off here for the second half. So the North Stars looking extra comfortable tonight.
Yeah, and I was a little worried if a Rome player would come on this wing as Hussey comes on the wing. I was a little worried, Kyle. I mean, I know they're down 15-0, but I was still a little worried that they weren't going to be at full strength.
Absolutely. I mean, I think those younger faces are going to be popping on the field very soon for the North Stars. We still see essentially kind of that starting lineup. Michael Kohler stepping in, R.J. Davis, kind of that sixth man, you could say. I use those basketball terms quite often.
Yeah, we see Caleb Martin out there.
Yeah, it appears they're throwing out those younger faces, but not necessarily those Pine Riders just yet. I'm excited to see how those guys will perform. It's always fun to see how these guys could do as Joe Green tries to get the shutdown on defense. RFA actually putting together a lengthy possession, you could say, somewhat here. Probably their first time tonight.
I would say that this is the first time that we've actually seen the ball in Hammond's stick trying to drive on Firth, and he's not going to let him. Hammond's a big lefty attackman who looks like he could probably be successful in the box lacrosse world, but we haven't seen Hammond attack the goal. And Hammond leads the team with 62 points, 46 goals, 16 assists, and he'll shoot it from anywhere. So if Firth does not play him right there, he's going to shoot that ball.
Yeah, you have to imagine what's going through the heads of these RFA Black Knights, finally getting a taste of what a true AA team looks like. They play in the Tri-Valley League where almost a majority, or actually as a matter of fact, I'd like to say around 80% of the teams in that league are not Class A. And so you move up to the North Stars who are, there is no AA in, lacrosse, but you could say a AA team, one of the largest schools in the area. And so they have to compete in that division. And, I think it's a clear difference in skill levels here.
And Hammond just lost his shoe. He's coming off the field.
There's oddities galore here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. Again, this game was postponed last night. This is the first time I've had a lacrosse call on a Wednesday evening, I can tell you that. So it's been interesting. One guy steps off the field for a shoe. Lightning called yesterday, but I thought it was some people stomping on the stands initially, but I take back my words as I saw lightning later on, so I can't blame them. These guys are running out in the field with long metal sticks, so
yeah,
I can't blame them.
Yeah, definitely dangerous. I once had a practice that it was thunder and lightning, and, somebody had to come kick us off the field. It's dangerous. Metal sticks, metal goals. Yeah, you can't blame anybody for the safety of the lacrosse world.
No, absolutely. Meanwhile, the RFA Black Knights absolutely putting together the longest possession they've had is number 16, Logan Waterman, actually rolling around X for the Black Knights. Guarded closely by number 23, Caleb Martin on defense for the North Stars.
And this is a good opportunity for Rome to attack on a CNS short stick, but I wouldn't be surprised.
And stuff from behind. Michael Kohler looking sharp on defense. A flag will fly, perhaps some slashing or a check from behind. The ball will pop out again. The Black Knights still fighting for it, and they pick the possession back up. Perhaps the North Stars kind of slowing things down as they finally do win the ball. Josh Kubala picking it up, but again, a penalty on the play.
Yeah, and Kohler will be called for a push with possession, which I'll be honest. I did not. I think that, he lost control of the ball, so I thought it should have been a loose ball push, but it was a push with possession.
You know what? The Black Knights will take anything they can get at this point. Not to disrespect RFA, a large school just an hour north of us. They compete in many sports, and one of those sports being track and field. We don't compete with them often up until the sectional championship. And today, the sectional championship here at home at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, and what a story it was for the North Stars. So much success in the field. Those guys pulled away with it early on in the meet. And so plenty of athletes here. As Noah Hammond lining up for a shot. Rips from distance, with some speed on it, but that one will roll wide. So finally a shot attempt for the RFA Black Knights. That one not on goal, though.
And that's something you're going to see is Hammond will shoot from anywhere. And you should look for Hussey at X, who's coming around the left side. He will also feed Hammond.
And number 1, Jared Hussey, 28 goals on the season. As again, we get another feed to Noah Hammond. He rips it wide again. That guy, big dude. I mean, we're talking, definitely 6 foot plus. He's got some size to him, and he moves well for his size too.
And definitely moves well for his size. And we saw it last night. I mean, I think Rome got off one shot, and it was Hammond inside who kind of had a behind-the-back kind of shovel shot that went wide. So I don't even think Heater even had one save and didn't even see one shot on goal.
Meanwhile, R.J. Davis guarding closely. Little pass off to Josh Kubala guarding Jared Hussey, who will roll to the inside. He has some space, fakes a pass, shot in the inside. Giovanni Heater will have the save, maintaining that shutout right now. Goose egg still on the board.
And that was a good move by Hussey, protecting your stick, running down when a player comes, go back to your right, come back to your dominant hand and shoot left. But it was a good save by Heater.
Evidently a call in the backfield, and the Black Knights will start with possession again. The North Stars coming out in the second half looking awfully different. Not a ton of newer faces on the field just yet, but the defense certainly not looking as sharp as usual.
And look for Hammond. He's telling Hussey to get out of his way, and he thinks that he's going to take on Firth, who's one of the best defensemen in this league.
As Nolan Firth, as Noah Hammond rolls by him, but Nolan Firth with a great play, getting the ball to pop out from behind. Again, that's a true All-American right there, as now he picks up the ball, rolls upfield, he has some space, and he'll dump it off to Mason Blakeman, but now to Anthony Semino.
And look for CNS to play fast here.
Now to the top, that's Ian Leahy, midfielder, junior for the North Stars. Good ball movement on display for the North Stars all night. Past the top, that's Mazzoli. Noticing now John Carter. He's only had a little bit of minutes in the season, but he's stepping in now. Meanwhile, Elijah Martin trying to find some space. He'll pass off to Anthony Semino once again.
Actually, I think Carter's now into the game for Semino.
Is he? Oh, I'm mixing up my numbers. I apologize. I believe that was Semino in the backfield. That's Mason Cicerelli. A similar style of play between those two guys. Smaller athletes who can move well, great stick skills. And again, a flag flies. Oh, look at the slashing play.
That's
two of them.
Three
flags flown right there.
And 15-0. And the clock will run. In a sectional playoff game, you normally don't see it, but it's 15-0. And good for Cicerelli to keep his composure because, up 15, you could get mad at that. That's 2-3 kind of slashes. We'll see what the refs call, but I like Cicerelli keeping his composure on that play.
So number 13, Ryan Davis, will step into the box for the RFA Black Knights. A couple of slashes right there, almost with some poor intent. But again, Black Knights, you have to feel for them. Down 15-0. They see the end of their season already, and we're not into that final quarter just yet. The clock will continue to run through these timeouts. Trying to just get this game over as quick as possible as now Semino steps into the game. He lines up from distance, but that's Blakeman getting the shot from the left side. He'll put it away, and it's a 16-0 start to this game. The North Stars just putting it in cruise control now with 4.5 to go here until the final quarter.
And that's Blakeman's 5th goal on the night and 1 assist.
Blakeman's had his night. Tanner Long was a pleasant surprise tonight. I hate to kind of deviate from the situation, but Tanner Long, kind of that face-off guy, doesn't look like he's in the midfield just yet. A new guy stepping in at face-off, but Tanner Long has had quite the night. A freshman, his older brother Aiden Long being that initial fogo for the North Stars, you could say, but out with injury, re-aggravating that shoulder, so he will not be able to complete this season with the North Stars. And now number 30 for the North Stars, it appears.
39.
39, excuse me. We don't have that on our sheets just yet.
JV players being pulled up for sectionals.
A JV player being pulled up. I have to wonder if that is my companion, Colin Stanton. It appears it is from distance. That could be Colin Stanton. I played soccer with him. He's a great athlete. JV player on the North Stars lacrosse team, and he gets pulled up for sectionals. I got word that a couple kids did get pulled up. Meanwhile, Riley, a good friend of yours, Brody Kennedy, stepping onto the field. You might know him well.
Yeah, definitely. That's the younger brother who's going to Buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. A talented athlete and stepping onto the field. He has a little bit of golf under his belt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, definitely. He plays golf and plays golf well. One of the best golfers on that CNS squad, who I think, believe it or not, actually won sectionals. I don't know if there were sectionals this year, but last year CNS is one of the best golf teams in the area.
So a sectional champ. You and your brothers compete about that as a shot in the inside for the North Stars. Falls off the pipe, and the Black Knights will get away with it. You and your brothers, you ever discuss that? Does he let you know he's got that sectional champ and you may not? I don't believe you have a sectional champ under your belt.
I have two. I have two in volleyball. One of my junior
I forgot you were a volleyball player.
How
could I mistake that?
Definitely.
Man, so you still have the upper hand on him.
Yeah, my dad also has won a sectional championships in field hockey. One in track tonight as one of the coaches. My mom played lacrosse. My younger brother 8th grader. He plays golf, lacrosse.
Oh, geez.
He
Tell me he plays volleyball.
plays volleyball.
There you go.
Now he has to pick between volleyball and golf. So I think he's going to play volleyball. He plays lacrosse and he plays basketball. I mean, that's all the sports that you can play, Kyle.
You know, I heard stories of friends' fathers back in the day as number 1 Jared Hussey having a hard time getting through, and the North Stars will poke the ball loose and try and roll upfield with it. I've heard stories back in the day, you know, that a lot of North Stars fathers, you know, my buddy Tyler Murray is the first one I think of. His father, Greg Murray, grew up in Canada. And, you know, back in the day, you could play high school sports multiple at the same time. You know, thinking like my father, he graduated at Liverpool. You know, I wish he was a varsity athlete, but he ended up not playing any sports until his later years. I wonder if he would have been able to play multiple sports at the same time. What a life that would have been to be able to just play whatever sport went.
Yeah, I wish. You know, I wish he could play golf and volleyball at the same time, but playing for one of the best coaches ever, Coach Lucia, who's a business teacher at CNS. I know a lot of people, maybe even on this broadcast, know Lucia. Great person, great coach, and one of the best coaches to ever do it. But Grady will play for him, so I'm really proud of that.
Absolutely. And Lucia coaches a little bit of baseball well. Again,
that's right.
Just such a winning attitude here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. Guys could get sectional championships under their belt any which way. And again, tonight, the North Stars pull it off for the track and field Section 3 championship as a shot ripped from deep will roll wide. That was number 19 for the Black Knights, Matthew McCormick, rolling from deep. He has 3 goals in this season, so perhaps not afraid to shoot from distance, but that's not a massive statistic. So the ball will be passed wide. Another gaff
beautiful
from the Black Knights.
Beautiful play. When you see that ball coming, lift up on your defender's stick, try getting over and back call, and that's exactly what CNS just did.
Fantastic job from number 39 for the North Stars. Again, we don't have his number. I can't tell exactly who that is. A JV athlete pulled up for the North Stars tonight. I'm sure his family is yelling at me from home right now.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, to be brought up from JV and actually get to play in a sectional game is just incredible. I mean, I wish when me and a couple of my teammates that got brought up for sectionals when we were freshmen, I mean, that would have been, you know, amazing to play, and we actually ended up losing that game. But for them to actually play, you know, coming from JV and now playing a varsity game, your first varsity game is a sectional game, I mean, you can't make that stuff up. That's awesome.
And Tanner Long stepping in, another younger face back on the field. He already has a few goals in this matchup tonight. He's had quite the game, feeling very comfortable against the Black Knights. As the clock buzzes, and we're headed into the 4th quarter, so only a small break until some more action. Don't leave just yet. We have much more lacrosse to play here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. Welcome back here on the North Star Network. Lots of action left. 12 minutes of lacrosse to play, and some younger faces checking in for the North Stars with a 16-0 lead in this second portion of this Section 3 matchup. The RFA Black Knights leaving their Tri-Valley League to come down south a little bit and finally compete against some good competition, and definitely struggling in their first matchup against a Class A team. Black Knights fighting on the face-off. Again, those younger faces stepping in, so the face-offs aren't necessarily going to look as pretty. as number 14, Hayden McMonigal, will walk away with the face-off win for the Black Knights. The Black Knights looking a little bit sharper in this matchup, but again, you have to wonder if it's because those younger faces are stepping in for the North Stars. Noah Hammond lining up from distance, that big lefty for the Black Knights, rips his shot wide. Tough angle right there. You have to wonder what he's trying to do there, but again, kind of that main goal-scoring guy. He'll do anything to put that ball in the back of the net.
And I'm glad Greco didn't bite on that first fake by Hammond. Hammond tried to throw a fake like he was going to shoot, but he's not going to he's not passing, I meant. He was not going to pass. He was going to shoot in all those scenarios.
Meanwhile, the Black Knights still trying to deviate from this young defense as Peter Carter gets stuffed in goal, and he'll get his first save in this Section 3 matchup. Ooh, a hit from behind. No flag on the play. Kind of looked dirty to me. Passes to the inside. Black Knights turn around, fire, and another save for Peter Carter. Carter looking sharp in his debut for the section championships for the North Stars, and Jaden Greco will turn the ball over. So again, these younger faces, well, Jaden Greco is senior, but not stepping onto the field all too much for the North Stars this season. Not looking necessarily as sharp, but nonetheless, the North Stars maintaining that shutout. And I think that's the goal now with 10.5 to go in this matchup.
And you would expect Hussey to try to take this matchup, and if you're CNS, just play the hips, play the hands, and anticipate the passing lanes.
Noah Hammond ripping from deep, and Carter with another save. Bounces back out, and number 4, Jacob Hall taking a shot at it. And Peter Carter looking all too sharp in goal. Giovanni Heater better be worrying about his starting position now.
And we've seen more shots in the last 2 minutes from Rome that we've seen the entire game.
Absolutely. Not even 2 minutes. Perhaps the last 30 seconds. They got about 3 shots in there. So that definitely matches what we've seen throughout the game from them otherwise.
And if you're CNS, who's the hot man? Where's the slide? You don't want to let Rome, you don't want to let Rome score.
Pass to the inside. Some more ball movement from the Black Knights, looking a little bit sharper. That one will roll wide. Who can get possession? They'll give it to the Black Knights. I don't know. I thought number 2 hustled that one out. That was Peter Carter coming out of goal trying to get that win for the North Stars. That was close. What did you see there, Riley?
Yeah, I mean, if you're the refs, normally reward the goalie. Always reward the goalie for the hustle plays if you're going to come out of the cages. That was definitely an interesting shot.
Yeah, the Black Knights spinning around trying to put a circus shot away.
That's a Cicerelli shot. But Cicerelli sometimes, he likes to finish those goals.
Now, I believe it was the Lady North Stars matchup last night versus the Liverpool Warriors that we saw a really cool shovel shot from down low, almost kind of an around-the-world type shot. She kind of just grabbed the ball, spun around, and put the shot away. As Hammond gets a shot and a goal from distance, the first one tonight for the RFA Black Knights, taking away the goose egg. Peter Carter stepping into goal, and a string really of fantastic saves, but the first one seeping its way through, and now it's a 16-1 lead for the North Stars. I still don't think they're worried just yet.
And if you're CNS, you know Hammond's a big lefty attackman. Do not give him that left lane because, Hammond, he'll shoot from anywhere, and he'll drive that lane. So, if you're CNS, anticipate that. Don't let Hammond drive down that left lane and get a nice left alley shot.
Meanwhile, for the North Stars, more younger faces stepping onto the field as Joey Horgan will pick up the ball. He'll roll up field and pass it off to number 35. I believe that's another number we just don't have on the roster right now. Again, those JV kids getting pulled up. Plenty of younger faces that we don't recognize just yet. The ball will sail by, and another gaff in the midfield for the North Stars.
And that's an over and back. And if you're Greco, and if you're the CNS defenseman, stand at that 50-yard line. You want to help your teammates, Rome will lift up their sticks as CNS going to get the ball back. But, the Rome attackman will lift up on the CNS sticks. But if you're a CNS defenseman, keep that ball over. Retain the possession. Help your offensive players out.
And that's number 11, Cy Lieberman, stepping in. He'll roll up field. And again, the North Stars certainly taking their time with it. It's Peter Carter trying to get the clear. We'll pass off to number 9, Angelo Albanese. I'm sure I butchered that name in some manner. They'll pass up field. Ooh, a good snag. That's number 26 in the field for the North Stars, Rocco Albanese. So the Albanese brothers or cousins, whatever it may be. Unfortunately, I do not know.
The Albanese family is all coming to contribute to
that. 7 minutes, left in this matchup. A 16-1 lead for the North Stars. Things really slowing down here as the sun hits its peak here in Cicero, New York. Finally getting those shadows taking over the field, so no more sun trouble in that backfield for the North Stars. They pass up field. It's number 8, John Carter.
And if you're the CNS offenseman and the offensive players, when the ball's down at your attack cut, if you're a midfielder, cut. And, you know, that first dodge is just Cy Lieberman here. The first dodge is just move that defense. Just move the Rome defense. He actually might get a shot off here.
Lieberman inside, puts it away. You spoke it into existence, and the young kids putting on a show tonight here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, a 17-1 lead with 6.5 to go.
Move the defense successfully, and score. Congrats to Cy Lieberman on his first goal of the season.
And that kid's hyped up. You love to see it. Tons of adrenaline rushing through the fans here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. As I mentioned it just before this, a huge Section 3 championship win for the North Stars. I'm sure they're celebrating over there at Tully's, the track and field team, getting a huge win tonight. And, of course, the North Stars here for the lacrosse team, rolling away with it as the younger faces having more and more success on the turf tonight.
And just a little look ahead for the Section 3 Class A sectional championships. Liverpool, the 5 seed, defeated the number 4 seed Syracuse, who normally has a lacrosse team but started their season just a little bit late, so they didn't play teams in the Metro, but they played teams in the Empire instead. Syracuse comes in as the 4, Liverpool the 5 seed. Liverpool was the victors last night, as really of no surprise, 16-6, as Liverpool's had not as a successful season as they would have liked, but, you know, win and you advance, and that's how sectionals are. You win, you get good at the right time, and Liverpool will advance to play the 1 seed Baldwinsville Bees on Thursday, June 10th, 7 p.m. at Beeville. And the winner of this game will take on the number 2 seed West Jenny Wildcats Thursday, June 10th as well at 7 p.m. over at West Jenny.
Absolutely, and we'll allude to that. You know, tomorrow really could be a CNS versus West Jenny type of day, as another string of passes nearly leads to another goal as Nick Bassessi rips a shot from the inside. But, you know, how important, you mentioned it, how important is it for teams to peak at the right time throughout the season?
Yeah, peaking at the right time is just the best thing. I mean, that's a no-brainer, but peaking at the right time, you know what? I want to say CNS has actually peaked at the right time, you know, beating West Jenny for the first time since 1965, and, you know, coming in here just dominating Rome. I mean, we knew Rome wasn't, you know, the best team, but you still have to win. Don't take any opponent, you know, for granted. And, you know, they're going to play West Jenny when they win here today. And Liverpool beating Syracuse. I mean, no win is granted in Section 3 lacrosse and any lacrosse as a whole. So Liverpool will take on Baldwinsville, as, you know, they've been one of the best teams in this class all year. So, but peaking at the right time, and CNS has certainly done that.
Absolutely. I mean, peaking at the right time, you know, the least to say. The North Stars finally just absolutely obliterating an opponent, although they've had an easy time versus the Warriors this season. So you and I were discussing it. If the Warriors get a win somehow over Beeville, and, of course, the North Stars with momentum going into that West Jenny game, what a final it would be to have that 3 seed North Stars versus the 5 seed Liverpool Warriors in a home game here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium for the final. I am going to willingly knock on wood for that, because I guarantee it may not fall in that manner in both sides of the bracket. So North Stars still trying to fight for possession in the backfield. How interesting would that be, Riley?
I mean, so interesting. So interesting if that does happen. But if there was the state championships this year, and obviously not with COVID, but it's awesome to see, close to 500 fans here tonight. And maybe we do actually have 500 fans here tonight with 3 minutes left in the ball game. But if Liverpool can somehow squeak a win past Beeville, never say never, because CNS beat West Jenny a week ago for the first time since 1965. So never say never.
And a pass to the inside, a string of possessions for the North Stars that just look smoother and smoother, and smooth like silk tonight as these younger faces are really putting on a show. It's an 18-1 lead with 3 minutes to go. And man, is that sideline hyped up here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium.
And that was John Carter's first goal of this season. Congrats to John Carter.
Yep, as I mentioned, these younger faces stepping onto the field. John Carter, number 8 for North Stars, a junior attackman, finally getting his first string of minutes. He could certainly get plenty more next year as a senior, as he's putting on a show.
And John Carter's actually had some minutes here this season over in a game over in Fayetteville Manly, as John Carter actually got a rep in when Blakeman actually got injured, him or Semino. So John Carter has been kind of that fourth attackman all year, but I mean, that's a crucial. If an attackman goes down, who's that fourth guy? As this is a beautiful ride by CNS. Who's that fourth guy up, in the midfield line? You run your first midfield line, run a second midfield line. Who's that guy up? I mean, if your first line's struggling against a team, and they're going to play West Jenny, they need everybody they can get, but Sassy, Tanner Long, and Cy Lieberman, have come up huge in these past couple games as that second, third midfield line for CNS.
Meanwhile, Hayden McMonigal getting slashed from behind, so the Black Knights will maintain possession. You hear it. Daryl White, our PA announcer, announcing 2 minutes left on this clock and really 2 minutes left for the RFA Black Knights season as the North Stars continue to pull away and a shot will roll wide. Black Knights will maintain possession. So as the sun nearly sets here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, what a script the North Stars have written, as last night Mother Nature intervened on the beatdown the North Stars were giving to the Black Knights, and they got a break in between. But we check back into this game, and goals galore.
And
Nearly
I'll tell
another
you,
one for the Black Knights as Hammond rips a shot wide.
Kyle, I'll tell you this. I actually think that for CNS to play in this game and, to give guys, a confidence booster, get the starters a couple minutes before halftime in the third quarter, I actually think that will help CNS going into West Jenny tomorrow. I mean, it's kind of like a practice for CNS. Get your reps up, get your shots up, make sure defense face off, offense is on all cylinders. Get ready for that West Jenny game because West Jenny hasn't played in about a week.
Absolutely, and so 50 seconds left on the clock, and it's about wrapped up here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium tomorrow as a shot will be saved once again from Peter Carter, almost nearly at a loss for words. Carter is really putting on a show in goal tonight. One goal will elapse for the Black Knights throughout this game as it appears. So again, 30 seconds left on the clock, and Riley, you mentioned it, it's looking like tomorrow is going to be a West Jenny versus CNS type of day. We have baseball at West Jenny at 4:30, first pitch, second round of the Section 3 playoffs. And you can forget that opening game for the Lady North Stars against the Liverpool Warriors. They earn their spot at West Jenny, 5 o'clock opening draw, second round. And of course, this boys lax game just coming to an end as they're all hyped up here and the clock will buzz here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. The North Stars will move on to the second round and compete versus the West Genesee Wildcats for a 7:30 face-off tomorrow, second round. These boys are rolling off the field to give Carter his congratulations. And who could forget Giovanni Heater in goal tonight. What a job done well by the North Stars. Riley, your wrapping up thoughts.
Kyle, if this is our last broadcast together, I mean, it's been a terrific season. As for CNS boys varsity lacrosse team, I mean, they're on all cylinders now. They have all the momentum that they could ask for. There's no down points. So they're going to play West Jenny tomorrow night, the 2-seed West Jenny Wildcats at West Jenny. And if they can get a win there, that will be more impressive than CNS beating West Jenny here. I mean, nobody goes into West Jenny and wins. So if they can go to West Jenny and win tomorrow, the girls' lacrosse team goes into West Jenny, they could possibly win tomorrow. And the baseball team travels over to West Jenny, and they could possibly win. So that would set up an epic Saturday, a boys lacrosse sectional championship, girls lacrosse sectional championship, and boys baseball sectional championship.
Absolutely. So Wildcats beware. The North Stars are on the prowl, rolling into town tomorrow night. Baseball, girls lacrosse, and boys lacrosse. Don't leave just yet. We'll be back for a quick post-game breakdown.
We can't.
And welcome back here on the North Star Network. We apologize for that quick intermission. Just wanted to wrap things up. Riley alluded to it before, but again, this really is our last broadcast. So as the North Stars have all the momentum and a lot of work left to do here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, they move on to West Jenny tomorrow. But my job up here in the booth is done tonight here at the CNS High School. So Michael J. Bragman Stadium, I thank you for being host to just a wealth of fantastic games throughout my career. I really have to reflect on my career, and I want to allude to Giovanni Heater, who had a great game tonight in goal for the North Stars. He really brought me into this program. So, just to make it quick, I have to thank him. What a great companion I've had alongside me. Riley Kennedy, how could I not thank him? Stepping into the booth, Riley, you shot us texts throughout the basketball season, the football season. You wanted to get into the booth. That initiative was very fantastic. And, from a younger, competitor to an older one, stepping out to UNC next year for some more broadcasting, I have to thank you for your initiative. And what a thrill it's been to have you in the booth for quite the, wealth of calls. Again, some more OT calls that a lot of yelling over the microphone will, allude to. So it's been fantastic to have you up here in the booth as well. And as the sun sets here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, I can't help but get emotional because what a way to wrap up the season for myself. The North Stars, as I mentioned, still a lot of work left to do. So I thank you for all the fans. Daryl White, my PA announcer, Tim Bednarski, setting this all up for me in my career here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, my athletic director here at CNS High School, Johnny Lisi on camera tonight, Drew Williams, my producer, who could forget Spencer Congel's work, and of course Owen O'Keefe, Robert Bateman, my companions, who will be taking over next year. Perhaps Riley Kennedy will stop by next year, and I certainly want to as well. So again, From Kyle Marshak, Riley Kennedy, we thank you for everything you've given us. All the fans up and down the East Coast, we thank you, and good night.